Hello, hello. What is going on, people? Welcome to another edition of the Foodie Fantasy Podcast that comes to you every Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Yeah, I think 2 p.m. Central, and I don't know what the time is in Europe right now.
Europe, well, it's 8 p.m. over
Is
here,
it?
but there'll be some parts of Europe that's
Yeah.
probably 7 p.m., some parts will be 9 p.m. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's
Okay.
night time in Europe.
Well, afternoon United States side, evening European side, and Nigerian side.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, as of today, we're starting a new format for the Footy Fantasy Show that comes in every Sunday. Instead of having a host of guests representing different football clubs, we're starting this format where two people will come on the podcast, talk about a few issues surrounding football, and we will have a chance to have people call in to contribute, to tell us what their thoughts are on specific issues. And this is something new we're trying. If it goes well, it will make it permanent. But we just thought it make a lot more, make for a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Have people come in, share their thoughts for 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next guest. So if you're watching on from Facebook or from YouTube, there's a link that has been posted in the chat. And when it's time for us to start receiving calling guests, we will have you call in then. Um, Before we go further, check out our YouTube at Footy Fantasy. On Twitter, we are at Footy AD Fantasy, and on Instagram, it is Fantasy Footy. So give us share the videos, like the videos. We do come up with content at least every week, and of course when the season starts, there will be match reactions from several other people posted in the YouTube and Twitter and Instagram as well. I have with me here our resident Liverpool fan, Mr. Klopp expert himself. Hola, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I don't know. I'm not really an expert about club, but yeah, I can say I'm a full-time supporter of the club
You,
supporters club.
you don't. How about the hug? Do you have you ever received a club hug from anyone
From
ever?
anyone, I will say no, but I've received maybe something close to that. Yeah, close to that. Yeah, beer hog. I know what
I
the
feel
beer
I
hog
feel
is.
like I feel like that if Klopp hugs any player, like it feels like a father. The guy just comes off as a father figure whenever he's hugging his players. It's cool. It's cool to see. It's cool to see.
Yeah.
I throw shade sometimes, but man, sometimes I wish some people could hug Manchester United players like that. You know.
Yeah, but let me tell you, it's not about the organ, man, because sometimes you can communicate different ways through a hug. There's angry organ, there's
Yeah,
organ where
true,
you're saying I'm
true.
sorry, and then there's hug of I'm proud of you, I'm hugging you. So
Yes.
yeah, it communicates to the players that I've seen him angrily hug Shakiri before. Like he went after
Ah.
a game, he did that thing that Pep does, where after a game you have won the match, but then you
Uh
still
huh.
want to make your point, and then he went to Shakiri, hugged him angrily. I was like, well, you should have done what I said you should do. So the hug is not
Ah,
always happy hug. There's different kinds of hug. There's a hug when Liverpool lose, you go and hug them, sad hug.
that's a
And then
sad hug.
yeah, that's club for you. But I'm not an expert on club. No, I know about the hugging shot.
I was just messing with you. So I am sorry. I was trying to send some people the link as well. Anyway, so today we have picked out certain topics we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Benjamin Mendy issue. If you're following the Mendy story, he was acquitted of all charges on the sexual assault slash rape issue he's been facing for the last couple of years. We're also going to talk about Dele Ali and the interview he came out with. We're going to talk about how um, that is something the football community has to pay more attention to. And we'll just talk about general transfer. We'll talk about general transfer issues. We heard some club from Saudi Arabia is offering what 40 million for Fabinho. The Hojlund thing from Atalanta is still going on. Onana still going on. And just this morning, I woke up super late. I woke up like what 2.5 hours ago, and I saw that Harry Maguire had been stripped of the captaincy at Manchester United by Eric.
Wow.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's go straight into it. And we're all and I are going to talk about these issues, and then we'll open up the call line for people to call in and share their thoughts. So we have, sorry. So Olaf, of course, you've been following the Benjamin Mendy thing. Manchester City, they suspended him just the way Manchester United did with Mason Greenwood. And I think Benjamin Mendy's contract ran out this past June, like a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And of course, he hasn't been offered an extension. Now, the jury came out and acquitted him of all charges. Of course, remember there was a first round of trials where he was found not guilty on most of those counts, and there were 2 remaining counts where the jury was not in agreement, and a mistrial was declared on those counts. So those 2 other counts went back to trial, and I think 3-4 days ago, I don't remember how long ago, the jury found him not guilty. So as it stands, Benjamin Mendy has been acquitted of all those charges. And of course, just like with anything like that, the football community will react. Yeah. And I was paying attention to what the comments were like on social media, mostly Instagram, because I follow the Sky Sports page, ESPN, all those things on Instagram. And I just went straight to comments, just like most of you, go straight to comments, see what the public sentiment is. Yeah. And I mean, there are people from all over the world talking about, well, he's just lost his career, his entire life is wasted. These women who falsely accused him should be prosecuted and imprisoned and all those things. First, Ola, what are your thoughts on the whole issue, and what's your reaction to the way the football community has reacted? And by the way, I'm talking about the fans that I've seen on social media, right? Yeah. So I'm not talking about like the clubs or the players or managers or anything.
Well, of course, always a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a case where we have seen many cases like this, and of course, in this part of the world, they'll say, "Okay, you're innocent until proven guilty." Yeah, but usually we know that that's not always true. In case I prefer cases, the public there's a public court of opinion, and the public court of opinion usually will judge you before the actual judge judges you. Yeah. So at that point, the overriding sentiment was this guy is guilty. Like it's not just one woman. Let's get it clear. This is not just one lady coming to make it was multiple women. So
I think like 10 of them.
So that's a lot, So at that point, you would think that, well, there's no smoke without fire, Of course. So it's very likely that, okay, they can't all be lying. But then the thing is, this kind of case is usually my word against yours, unless you have actual, even with video evidence, sometimes people get off free, it's a court of law, and I think Oga Kwame, you have legal background and you know how these things work. So even with some evidence, some people still escape conviction.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not going to say that he's either 100% guilty or 100% innocent. I wasn't there, but the opinion that has come out, I wasn't surprised about the opinion coming out that people felt this guy has been wronged, and if the courts and you went to trial and all the charges eventually you were acquitted, then I feel people maybe are entitled to feel sorry for him. Now, that's not to say the potential victims were also like they should not feel any pity for them. It's just I just think with footballers and high-profile footballers, probably need to be a bit more careful. It's easier said than done. Let's not forget these are guys in their mid-20s, late 20s. Hormones are raging. They want to party. They want to have a good time. But they probably need to be a bit careful. It doesn't mean that they should outstretch their boundaries, because some of them you can see do go they go too far. I mean, maybe having parties, multiple and going crazy. I'll just quickly drop in one example of something that is a bit opposite to this that didn't make the news. Like there was a story I read a few weeks ago. This particular lady, she's just a professional stalker, and she even nicknamed herself Devil's Baby. And if you just go read it up, it's in the Athletic. And she had a one-night stand with, I think, Mason Mount, or I think it was Mason Mount, Ben Chilwell, and she wouldn't let go, and she just kept on chasing after these people and started spreading false stories about them because they didn't want to get back to her. They didn't want to have a proper relationship. And this went on for a couple of years. She was harassing them. She was telling them, "I know your address." She was posting to their family, "Yeah, check it out." She nicknamed herself Devil's Baby or something like that. And eventually they had to get a restraining order, took her to court, and but she didn't go to jail. I think they gave her a suspended sentence and a fine. So there's also the extreme from the other side where we know that there's some women out there who just want to be with the footballer so they can milk it. I'm not saying that's what happened with the Mendy situation. I'm just saying we should always consider that when there are accusations made, we should consider that there are always two sides to every story. And there's always a slight possibility that somebody might be lying. Now, the victim might have an impression that, oh, I already gave consent, but then I wanted him to stop, and then it didn't stop. And that is still rape.
Yes.
So that's still rape. So at the beginning, she might say, "Oh yeah, okay, I'm down for this," and then she says, "Well, actually, I'm not down for this," and then maybe they didn't stop. So we should always consider that. But I understand, like you said, like if reading from the comments, many people are angry because they feel, well, look, his career, which is true because the stigma is attached to him now
forever.
It's like very likely he won't get a club in Europe. So people are saying, go to Saudi Arabia, go to Saudi Arabia. Yeah. It feels
maybe Turkey, maybe.
Yeah. Well, but Turkey, they'll say Turkey is not even officially part of the EU. They're not part of the European Union. Yeah. So, it's technically they say some parts of Turkey are in Europe and some parts are in Asia. So, right. But his football career is not over. Let's not exaggerate. It's not like his football career is over. A club will take him on. We've seen people who are even convicted of rape who got a club afterwards. Yeah. So let's not exaggerate and say his football career is over. He will get a club, but maybe at the top level, he might not get a club like Man City's standard. So I can't say I'm sorry for him. Like if 10 women are coming out saying this, that means, man, you must have been doing something wrong. You can't have that number of women coming out with accusations against you. I'm not saying committed rape. I'm just saying, well, you put yourself in that position to have like 10 women coming out to make allegations against you. You have to be careful, man. You have to be careful.
Yeah. I hear you. And I just want to speak to the issue of I want to start by speaking to the issue of people saying that the women who brought these charges against him, should be prosecuted and imprisoned and all that stuff. I just want to, and of course, this conversation is one that requires cool heads. You cannot have a conversation like this with when your head is gone, when you're not level-headed, when you're not cool-headed. It's a conversation that requires calmness. And there is a public policy reason behind not prosecuting somebody who alleges sexual assault or rape or whatever. Because imagine what that would do to other people who in the future might suffer from the same thing. They'll think, well, if this guy doesn't get convicted, then they're coming after me. They're coming after me to prosecute me. I might be imprisoned. And we can't just go to that extreme of prosecuting everybody who alleges sexual misconduct if it turns out that the accused was eventually found not guilty. So we cannot go to that. We can't go to that. That's just what I think. We cannot go to that because that will play a major role in stopping people from reporting those abuses.
Yeah.
Secondly, when you're a footballer, you have to be careful. You have to be careful. And I'm putting this responsibility not only on the footballer themselves, but also on the clubs, on the leagues, on the FAs. There has to be some kind of training. And I'm not talking about just a one-time training where this guy signs for a club, signs a professional contract, and they give him some, Microsoft Teams, do it yourself, 30, 45-minute training on issues surrounding sexual assault and stuff like that. No. I'm talking about ongoing, season after season, maybe even quarterly training, right? On issues like this, because young men just have to be careful. And I'm not even talking about only young men that are footballers, people that have money. No. Young men all over the world. The regular guy who works, at a restaurant, the guys who are engineers, the guys who are footballers, we have to be very, very careful. So look, do I feel sorry for him? I'm not sure that I do, but just because he got acquitted does not mean there was no kind of moral, immoral thing going on or socially unacceptable thing going on. My conclusion is that whatever he did to those women might not have risen to the level of legal, beyond a reasonable doubt, sexual assault, rape, whatever. But that does not mean, he didn't do anything at all. So I just want to, I've read a lot of comments from
me. Yeah. When you say young men need to be careful, so this is the issue I have when they say young men need to be careful. Like, for example, let's be realistic. This doesn't really happen to lower league players or something. Let's just say, let's put it out there. This tendency usually not all the time, usually it happens to millionaire footballers or maybe millionaire sportsmen get tangled in this a lot. Yes. And now, for example, this person I was telling you about, this actually happened to Mason Mount. So I was right. It's not just Mason Mount, Ben Chilwell. Okay. I just really checked up the story. The girl who called herself Devil's Baby. Now, for example, Mason Mount goes out to the club. He's having a nice time. He sees a nice lady. She on her forehead, it's not written that this girl wants to stalk me. She comes on to him, or maybe comes on to her and says, "Oh, let's go and have a good time." This is a normal thing for a 20-something-year-old boy to do. Yeah. So you go to have a good time. It was consensual, one night stand, and then she comes after you, stalking, and starts spreading stories that you assaulted her, and you didn't do anything of that sort. So how do you? I'm not disputing your point, but how do you mean for them to be careful in that kind of situation? Because in that kind of situation, it was not an orgy, so just like a hookup. And that happens every single day, everywhere. Yeah, happens. So, as a footballer, do you want them to be celibate for life? Especially in your 20s, man. At that stage, how we were.
Yeah. Well, listen. I hear you. And I look. There is no black and white answer, obviously. But I think especially in a case like Benjamin Mendy, right? 10 women, bro.
Yeah, no, that was extreme.
That was 10 women. And I want to believe that prosecutors will not bring a case like that if they don't find some kind of pattern in all 10 cases, right? Some kind of similarity in testimony, similarity in experience. Again, I'm not telling footballers to be celibate for life. I'm just saying that be conscious of the fact that you will be a target. You will be a target, and I don't have the answers. But look, do everything in your power. To just try, give yourself the best shot at coming out on top. That's all I'm going to say. The whole missing the celebrity stalker thing. I mean, it helps that he eventually got uncovered. Right, as somebody who goes and targets, footballers specifically and tries to exploit them, stalks them, all that stuff. So, look, good outcome for the footballers in that situation. But in the case of Benjamin Mendy, Mason Greenwood, bro, come on now, But we already have callers coming into the studio. Let me add Ola to the stream first. We haven't talked about transfers, but Ola, feel free. That's your namesake. But
my namesake, welcome.
Hello.
What's going on, my brother?
Hey, long time listener, first time caller.
Of course.
Nice.
By the way, for people who don't know, Ola is Ola. Right? Well, not the Ola on top. The Ola in the car is my roommate from law school.
Oh, cool.
And long time friend. I have known this man 13 years now.
Wow.
Yes. So, and he's a
that's
Chelsea
old.
fan. So, yeah, go ahead. Tell us what's on your mind, bro.
Man, well, I know we haven't talked transfers and stuff. You guys are talking about this Mason Greenwood, Mendy things, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of share the sentiments of I'm a little bit with Ola, like as far as like be careful, those kind of things, but I'm also with Jola on the whole there's a lot of people coming at you and prosecutors. I trust the system. I trust the justice system. It might be because of my career or whatever, but I wanted to say that when it comes to professional, rich men, okay, high class, profile, that kind of thing, what's going to happen is that you just have to you live a different life, so you got to live a different way. I get it, but you already have the warning now that this is coming. This is going to happen. Okay, you're out there, and there's going to be there's some, just like every type of profession, just like every type of people, there's some bad women out there. Okay, there's great women out there, there's bad women out there. Okay, and so you already know that. This shouldn't be. This isn't news anymore. These guys, and I would bet that most of these guys are trained or taught about what it is to have this kind of high profile and status, and that what's going to come with that. And so they need to be on that best behavior. And really, frankly, what every guy needs at whatever level, some accountability. So you say, hey, bro, we going out tonight. If some random girl come up here and I'm going to leave, you have some accountability of, where you're at, what you're doing, so that people understand that. You just have to cover your bases. It might be unfortunate, but it comes with the territory.
Exactly.
And so, I think that the Mason Mount thing is very different than the Mason Greenwood. Actually, I won't comment much on the Mason Greenwood thing, but it's much different than the Mendy thing. The Mason Greenwood thing is a little bit different when we're not talking about somebody that is a stranger, but we're talking about a domestic relationship and a familial relationship, or they already knew each other, they're already in a domestic relationship.
Right. So what I know we've not talked about transfers yet, but with the few minutes you have left, what are your thoughts on Chelsea's transfers so far? Because you guys have had more goings out than coming in. Pulisic just went to AC Milan, right?
Yeah.
Jola, I made the comment to you one time that they could kick everybody out of the club. And I only needed Havertz or Mount. Well, Havertz and Mount are gone. Christian Pulisic is gone. As the club starts thinning out, it makes me very concerned, a little bit worried about that, but not really, because last year was so bad. Because, going into last year, I was trying to tell Jola that we needed some rebuilding, and he argued with me. We didn't need to be rebuilt. And now he doesn't argue with me. We definitely need a rebuild now. And so for me, I'm excited about Pochettino. I was never excited about Graham Potter. So I'm excited about Pochettino. And if Pochettino truly, even though he kind of downplayed a little bit how involved he was prior to July 1st, I believe he was more involved than he's letting on. And I'm choosing to trust that he was involved. And if he's involved, I trust that man. I think he is good. And so and the other thing is that if players like Mason Mount say, I'm ready to leave, you don't want to start your tenure as a club manager with players that don't want to be there. And so, if the players are wanting to go, no matter what, you let them go. I'm excited that we're getting some Saudi Arabia money to, come in. We didn't expect this. We thought we'd have to just offload and not be able to bring people on. So I'm excited about that. So overall, I'm just excited that that things are happening. I don't want to look around to the star neighbors around us and see what they're doing, because I'm trying not to look at the fact that Liverpool is looking stronger. Arsenal is looking real strong still. We already know Man City, it's their title to lose. So I don't want to look at that. I just want to look at the fact that my club seems to at least be doing things. And so that's exciting.
Okay. All right, bro. Thanks for calling, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Right.
Love the show.
Okay.
All right. Take care.
Bye. Rosaneri, we're gonna come to you. We're gonna come to you very quickly. Bucci, what's going on, bro? You good?
I'm all right, bro. I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Let's move on to the next topic very quickly.
Now, let me chime in quickly on the Mendy thing, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because that's why I specifically called in. I've been listening to you guys, and I've had my thoughts on this. So I don't want to repeat some of the stuff you guys have
Okay. All right.
he said he trusts the system. Yeah. All I said he trusts the system, and I started laughing in my head.
The other Ola, specify.
You mean the other Ola that just left?
No, the Ola that just left. Not because everything you guys have said, I don't want to repeat that, but that actually goes to one of the reasons why I called. The biggest failure in this thing. Now, Mendy has his failures. The girls have their failures here because this case fell apart over credibility. We don't know, the jury chose to believe one person. And I always said this thing about rape is this, right? Sometimes like Ogapam, you've heard me say this in our private group where there's some rape cases that is a he say, she say. You don't know the truth. People always think about rape and they think it's always something so violent. No, it's not. If a girl tells you no and you continue, it's rape. If a guy is drunk and a woman sleeps with him and he's not sure, he might have said yes, but it's still rape. It could technically be rape. So I don't want to get into all those nitty-gritties, but the thing I do not understand is looking at how this case fell apart. How did they bring this case to court? Because these girls were literally destroyed in court. And so you're telling me prosecutors did not go through the evidence and go and find out what the defense could get? And then why did it take 2 years? That's a big failure of the British justice system. This idea that I trust the system doesn't, because in America, one of the things that they tell you is that once you charge a guy, you have like 90 days to bring it to trial. It's only in exceptional cases that it tends to drag so long. This guy was outed to the public and he was being investigated for over a year. And then it took another year for all this to now come to this.
Yeah.
I do not know whether Benjamin Mendy is guilty or not. That is not for me. Sorry, let me put it this. I don't know if he's innocent. That's not for me to judge. But I have to say that this was a big failure of the British justice system and of the prosecutors. You cannot hang a guy's life for almost 2 years and you're investigating when it is not something that you were not sure. A lot of rapists get away. A lot of guys are in jail that might not be rapists. Yes, that's why some people always said, but a lot of rapists, that's what the statistics, we know this by statistics, a lot of rapists get away. But this kind of cases does not help anyone. How does a woman who's raped now get up and approach the justice system if this kind of stuff can happen? How do we now believe that a guy is truly guilty of rape when he's accused if they can bring this kind of cases? I'm so disappointed because I do not want to be in this position or space where I'm going, I feel bad for Mendy, but I have to feel bad for him. Because if it happened to somebody, what was saying was him being friendly. But I also want to point out that people on social media rinsing a guy is not important. We have an opinion. We are not the justice system. The media didn't do anything to Mendy. The media cannot report on this case. They can only report the facts of the case. The people that rinsed him were the prosecutors that brought this bullshit of a case, with all due respect, because this was not a strong case. This case should have never gone to court.
Yeah.
If the defense can bring out a girl that, so that's just it in that aspect. It's just what I'm going to say. And the comment about me I'm not pissed. I've been more pissed than this, bro. I'm not pissed. But it's very annoying.
I hear your point. I hear your point. I mean, of course I don't know too much about the British justice system, and never really I'm not licensed to practice it, but I generally the standard to bring a case to trial is very different from the standard to convict. So you might have enough facts, enough evidence to at least bring the case to trial. Whether you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt is a totally different thing. So it may be that the amount of people that came forward, the similarity in the testimonies, maybe that was enough for them to bring the case. But then, of course, I mean, with any great defense attorney, you shred those those witnesses to you shred them to pieces when you get to trial. But Bumblebee, appreciate your call. We'll talk later. Okay.
Okay, bro.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. Who's Bumblebee? Oh, okay.
That's Bucci.
Sorry, I just saw his name. I was like, "Who's Bumblebee?"
Let's Prince AY and Rosanary, we're gonna come to you guys very shortly. I want to get your thoughts on the Dele Alli situation as well.
Okay.
Just very briefly, we saw the interview. We saw how he described his childhood experiences, and that one, man, that was a tough interview to watch. Did you watch it?
Yeah. I've seen clips of it. I'm not sure. To be honest, I thought maybe to be too much for me to handle, so I don't want to watch everything.
Listen, it was tough.
It was tough, because when it comes to things like that, you could see this guy had problems even before this interview. I mean, there have been stories about him. The fact that he went and said, even years ago, said, "Take my father's name off my back.
Yeah,
I'm going to be called Dele, not Ali." That's testament to show that there was something even wrong from years ago. And there have been stories that have come out, and that's the thing with, when it comes to family issues, that's why I always say there are two sides to every story. Because even today now, there's already backlash to his interview.
Yeah,
people are already talking, like saying, "Oh, some part of the story is a lie. He was not in Nigeria. He was in Nigeria at this time. How could they have been buying drugs?" And that's why there's usually two sides to a story. So overall, I can't dismiss the fact that this guy has had emotional trauma, and that's affected him. We can't determine. I understand where people are coming from to point out, oh, there's inconsistency, maybe in some part of the story, there's some inaccuracy, but that doesn't detract from the emotional trauma he has suffered.
Exactly.
You can't tell somebody, "Oh, why are you feeling that way?" It's up to that person to know what they are feeling. You can't determine how that person is reacting to a situation. So if he felt that they took him to Nigeria to punish him, that's what he felt. You can't tell him that, "Oh, they didn't take you to Nigeria to punish you," but that's what he felt. You can't justify what your reaction would be and now determine another person's reaction for that. So my main issue now is the fact that now looking back, you can see why his career maybe nosedived. And that's sad to see. That you can see now why maybe some of the criticism was not justified, because you can see this guy was dealing with many demons. He was dealing with like trauma that was unresolved, and that's things like that. When it comes back onto you, then mentally, when you're not we all know how this is, if you're feeling sad, I'm not even talking about depression. If you're feeling sad one day, you're not at your most productive, because generally you can't put in your best that day because you're just feeling sad. So not to not talk of somebody who's maybe clinically depressed or maybe has lots of trauma. So I do feel sorry for him. I understand a bit why people are saying, "Oh, this backlash that I'm saying now, I was even reading about it before we jumped on the show." I can see people already saying, "Oh, this guy is feeling so entitled." I remember there was somebody in the group, him, Sammy Man. Samuel. He used to say, "Oh, Dele," this was years ago. This is not related to this story, but he used to say Dele was irresponsible. Dele is this, Dele is that. That he knows him in Milton Keys, and so everybody has their opinion. They feel that, oh, this boy was a bad boy. But what we are saying is, why was he a bad boy? If you're saying he's a bad boy, we are talking about why. Why was he a bad boy? And that's the root of the matter. Why was he? His mother. She claims she was there for him. I remember a few years ago, she came to the newspaper, started crying in the newspaper. "Oh, Dele doesn't talk to me, doesn't send money to me."
Yeah.
What people should have asked, people were saying, "Oh, he's a bad son," but they should have asked why. Why is he not talking to her? Why is he not sending money to her? Nobody investigated that. People were just.
What's the foundation of their relationship? Yeah.
Nobody was asking. They were just criticizing their action. They were not investigating the root of their action. And now we know the root of the action. So what do you think? What was your feeling about it? How was
I thought
backlash?
Well, the backlash, I just ignore the backlash. I really don't care about the backlash. What I cared most about is the emotional trauma that this guy went through, and the emotional trauma this guy went through at a very young age. You know, this man, this young boy, at the age of 6, he was sexually abused by his stepfather. I think his mom's boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
He started selling drugs at 8 years old, selling drugs, right? And and of course, I mean, I don't know him personally, so I'm just gonna talk about the football aspect of it. The Dele example shows us that managerial style matters. You saw how we talked about Jose Mourinho versus Pochettino, and I'm not. He didn't blame Jose Mourinho for anything, and I'm not blaming Jose Mourinho for anything. But Dele said that the way Poch approached him was more from a, hey, how are you? How are you? Like, he wanted to get him to know him. He wanted to actually make sure that everything was okay with him as a person first, right? Before he could even get a tune out of him on the football pitch. Jose Mourinho's style is, I mean, of course, I don't think Jose intended, for Dele Alli to perform badly or to not have, a stable mental state, but his approach might have been a little less friendly than Pochettino's approach. So I just gone are the days, football has gone past those days where every footballer is just tough as nails and, you just give them tough love and just, these days you can't just have that approach across the board anymore. There are some players that will respond to tough love, and there are some players that will not respond to tough love. And Dele Alli strikes me as one of those that does not respond to tough love. You need to actually care about his emotions from a genuine place. Let me add Rossoneri to the call. Rossoneri, big man, are you there?
How you doing, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Sorry, I can't come on camera because I got a lot going on.
No problem.
Nah, you're good, bro. So what have you been? Tell us what club you support and what you want to talk about very quickly.
I mean, kind of obvious, Rossoneri, red and black.
Of course.
AC Milan through and through. Ola, I've been watching you guys a lot. I just don't comment and stuff, but Ola, it's always lovely to hear you talk as a Liverpool fan. I know when it goes back to, I guess, European history.
Yeah.
We have a lot of history, I remember crying myself to sleep 2005 Istanbul, but then, 2007, we got y'all back. So
yeah, revenge.
The revenge final. I think I wanted to, first of all, thank you guys for even talking about the Dele Alli situation. I watched it. I watched the interview. And I mean, I want to say, I feel like I have a lot of thoughts on it. And just bear with me because I may just, tangent off a little bit. I mean, we're all Nigeria people here, right? So, or for the most part, we kind of we're like immigrants or we're minorities in a majority country or whatnot, and I think on some level we can all say, oh, we went through tough things and whatnot over the course of our life. But, I was watching that interview and there were times I had to pause to say, what did this man just say this? I mean, you talk about, we joke about, oh, this guy's on the roads and whatnot. I mean, this guy was literally on the road selling drugs, nobody them see, selling drugs, like didn't have a functional parent or adult in his life for the most part. I mean, I think it's a miracle that he's even able to play football and make money. It is an absolute miracle. It takes sheer, I can't even imagine how much sheer amount of personal will to get to that point where football is your escape and you just play. And you guys touched on and another interesting point, which is that like managerial styles matter, right?
Yeah.
And that is important. That is critical. I think also there's a misnomer in football that like, and I don't mean to call out Jose Mourinho here. There's a misnomer that like only old school hard style managers you should be able to adapt to their system. This, blah blah. And I want to like just take that apart for a second because go watch Patrice Evra when he said that like Suarez called him the N word, right? Sir Alex backed him and literally bust into the referee's room after the game and wanted to take down the ref, right? Look at Ancelotti, a quote unquote old school manager with Vinicius and racial abuse. There's no, oh, maybe he did this or maybe no. The manager backs him every time, So I think like what Dele said about, just the managerial style having a huge impact. I think that's important to focus on. I don't mean to single out Jose Mourinho or whatever. I think he mentioned that Mourinho did call, apologize, and they saw eye to eye. But I think I bring that up just to say that like this idea that like you have to be almost like a hard-nosed person, no emotions. You can't even have an off day to be able to play football. I think that's toxic in itself. And we need to stop like, acting like these players don't have emotions. Money doesn't make problems go away, right? And even, if Dele Alli was still a really good football player, at some point he would have had to still confront these demons, right?
Yes.
They were never going anywhere. So yeah, I just want to make that point. Like, I feel very sorry for him. I think it's very hypocritical for people to say, oh my gosh, he's doing this, he's doing that, to slag him after the interview saying this is not accurate, that is not accurate. But if that man takes his life, then it's all, oh, we didn't know what was going on, blah, 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 blah. That's hypocritical, right? When people talk about their pain in real time, you have to listen to them. You have to acknowledge it. And you have to take yourself out of the picture. The way you've grown up, the way you view your life, what you're able to deal with personally, it's not the same capacity another person has.
I agree.
So, all that, I really want to say kudos to Dele Alli. I really even think it's a bit like shitty that like he was kind of forced to do the interview because the tabloids are about to.
Yes, they were going to release it before.
Let's even talk about how like the media in the UK is no one like they're never held accountable.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started
like,
about them.
No, it's ridiculous because basically, if his hand wasn't forced, he would have probably maybe waited a couple more months or years. I don't know to open up about this, but like being that and we all know how the media treats Harry and Meghan versus Kate and I mean, I don't want to. I'm not trying to be like a conspiracy.
Oh, we know.
But like,
we know.
Headlines,
we know.
They're obvious. Come on. So I think the fact that they even forced his hand, I don't know. I think he's done a good thing to come out and be brave. I think it's brave, because football is very you must be a tough guy. This. He's very brave for having come out. I wish him the best of luck in his career. Honestly, even if he doesn't play anything for the rest of his career, I feel like this is a strong legacy that I will even that I will remember him by, So, but again, kudos to you guys for even, broaching that subject. And shout out to Gary Neville. Loki, I don't rate Gary Neville as a broadcaster or interviewer or anything, but I think he let Dele Alli like just speak. He didn't judge. He didn't. He wasn't like. I'm sure there are many Africans that maybe they were watching that interview. They'll probably even think, he's not on anything. And let's be honest, some of those things he said, they were a lot. They were a lot. I wish Dele the best. And yeah, so anyway, that's my rant about Dele Alli's situation.
So, I appreciate it, bro. Thanks for calling, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Wait. What? Just one answer. How do you feel about Christian Pulisic? In 2 seconds. How do you feel about Pulisic?
Okay, let me just our transfer. Let me just maybe take 30 seconds. I really liked our transfers this summer. AC Milan, we're not the giant that we used to be anymore, so we really have to feed off crumbs of the bigger giants, in England and France and whatnot. I really like Loftus-Cheek as an addition. I like Pulisic. I'm a bit salty about Tonali, especially that he went for. I feel like he went for cheap, to be honest.
55 million.
I think he went for cheap, to be honest. But I think we still need a striker because honestly, like right now, our main hope is Giroud, and we can't do anything.
We gave you Divock Origi, man. We gave you Divock.
We'll take him. Well, I mean, they're saying they're looking at Taremi and this other Senegalese guy. Hopefully, we'll be able to string something in. So yeah. But yeah, we're definitely not a big fish. We'll take what we can. Half bread is better than none.
You can come and collect Maguire if you want. All right, peace out. Bye bye.
Thank you.
All right, Prince Ewa, we're gonna come to you next, but very quickly, Ola, talk to me about. Just tell me what you feel about this, about our transfer so far, especially with Fabinho. Are you
okay?
Cool with that? Like, I see a lot of Liverpool fans online. They're not, especially because you guys might lose Henderson as well. So Henderson gone, Fabinho gone. Like, are you cool with that? With that setup?
Yeah. Well, firstly, just for me for housekeeping, are we taking comments? Because I can see lots of comments.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I just wanted to ask.
Yeah. Let me take some comments. Spliff. Goes, damn, mercenary sounds clearer than y'all. Easy behind the camera. Did he actually call? I think he actually called in. He came in. I mean, well, he's not behind the camera, but he called in just like everybody else. Man got good camera. What can we say? Henry goes, yes, because we have younger players playing the game very early too, compared to what the norm was in the past. That is true. That is absolutely true as well. In fact, his audio is so crisp. Split Veron goes, facts, Rossoneri, I was equating Ali's circumstance and output with the Nigerian national teams, still going ahead to win things from the back of shambolic preparations. Facts. Toxic masculinity, yeah, that's definitely something in football. Benvido says, how do I call into the show? Benvido, the link is posted in the chat, and I think it's also clipped. It's a StreamYard link, and it'll take you straight to the studio. Split Veron goes, coupled with the fact that men are generally expected to chew still, smiling, and not expected to complain about toothache. That is 1,000% facts. That is 1,000% facts.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Let me get your feeling very quickly about the transfer so far before I bring
transfers
to the studio.
Yeah, I'm panicking a bit because if we lose Henderson and Fabinho, well, Fabinho, that's 40 million. I can't say no to that because last season, you could see his legs were gone. Legs were going, and they are going, and then very soon.
Usually, the legs don't come back. They just
when they go, they're not coming back. So 40 million for him. He's going to be 30 years old in the next couple of months. You take that. But then if you lose Henderson on top, that means we're losing 5 midfielders. To be honest, many of us were shouting, we want a midfield rebuild. Buy midfielders. So if you want to buy midfielders, definitely we need to sell midfielders. But it feels we're selling maybe too many of the experienced ones and maybe not the right ones. Because, for example, people would have wanted maybe Thiago to go. So Thiago go, but Thiago say he's staying. So he's not going nowhere. So that's why would have preferred, in my ideal situation, would have preferred maybe Thiago and maybe Fabinho to go. And then keep Henderson. So at least you have one experienced head there in midfield. Just even if it's not playing all the time, but just just for continuity's sake and just for leadership skills, keep him around. But I don't blame the guy. Saudis are coming allegedly or reportedly offering him £700,000 a week. I wouldn't say no to that.
I'm not saying no to that either. Listen, exactly. Let's remember these footballers are not. A lot of times they're not fans of the club. Okay,
exactly.
They only become fans when they play. It's a job for them. It's like whatever your job is. Somebody comes and says, "I'll top your salary." I will go.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I don't know why people are blaming him. So, but transfer wise, we need midfielders. We know this is something we've been saying since.
Oh, especially you.
We've been crying for midfielders. Our midfielder they've been overrun. Their legs are gone. So we need midfielders. So even when we sell Fabinho now, we still need maybe two. Even before we sell Fabinho, we needed at least two more. In my opinion, we needed at least two. But if we sell Fabinho now, I think we need three coming in. So we need young blood. We need experience. So for Liverpool, those are my transfers. Did you want me to talk anything about the other transfers? Because I think
let's talk about. Let me talk about the United, because and I also want to talk about this too. Let me bring Prince AY first. And Prince AY, tell me about first of all. Listen.
Let's celebrate rice.
I know you have a lot on your chest. I know there's a lot on your chest.
First of all, let me even say something. I came on the show. Wait, let me talk. I came on the show thinking that I'm going to come and sing Declan Rice. So all hyped. I joined the show around 20-something minutes mark. I've just been like this. I said, this is a guy coming, just want to do me strong. He said, you today, I will deal with you. Two people. I'm like, it's not my turn. It's already 51 minutes. I'm like, where? Even to sing first, it's already gone out of my body. But anyways, moving on.
No. We had to cover the topics, bringing people into the studio as they came in. So don't vex. It's not because of the fights.
Don't worry. I know where to get you. Don't worry. I'm going back to YouTube. Anyways, I'm just going to, before we move ahead, I'm just going to quickly touch on that Dele Ali situation. I watched the whole interview. It was really a hard watch, honestly. And for me, what I would just say is that what people don't understand is when you go to therapy, you come out a different person. Like for me, I've been to therapy. There are some things going on in my life. I'm like, no, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm just struggling. And then going to therapy and then coming out of it, you realize that there are so many things that has always been like the guy way or the man way, and then you're just all your emotions just boxed in, and then you realize that at some point all these emotions, when you have them all boxed in, like you just literally want to explode. And I think most people don't understand that the happiest people or the people you see smiling the most are actually the saddest, because they're just literally masking the sadness and even just masking it out. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm okay, I'm fine, and then when you have all this emotion all bottled in, and then you think that everything is going on, but inside you're fighting a real war. And for me, I'm not going to, like Ola said, I'm not going to say that, Dele Ali, he's a Nigerian guy, he went to now. I'm not going to do that, because at the end of the day, he is the one that experienced it, right? Whatever he is feeling, that is his own experience. It might be different from when someone presents from the outside, but that's his own unique experience. And I don't think anyone in the world has a right to question that. Whether it looks real or not, that is his experience, and he lived through that. And for me, I feel like most men should actually come out and talk about the demons within, because I feel like the more men are able to come out and talk about this demon within, it in some way, shape, or form, it's going to become normalized, and that way you can see things much more clearly. Anyways, that's by the way. So now you can like Declan Rice, right?
Talking about Declan Rice, talking about your rice and beans.
You know what? To be honest with you, in our WhatsApp group, when Dami broke the news, because Dami's our transfer guru in the group, any small thing that is in my mind, I'm like, nah, this is not going to happen. I've seen this thing too many times. You are linked to this player, you end up getting the other one. I'm like, I said, there is no way in hell Arsenal is going to drop that money for Declan Rice. It's not going to happen. Like nothing on this is going to make that happen. I will not be asked like, and then then the weeks are rolling by. I'm like, okay. And for me, I always try my best not to get sucked into transfer, because they say, like they always say, it's the hope that kills. Yes. And then I'm like, I'm getting sucked in. And then all of a sudden, boom, honestly broke things. I'm like, that's not Jerry. Man City will come and blow them. I refuse to be sucked in. And then Man City came and like, it's all over Jerry. Like, how will he choose Arsenal over City? But then, when it happened, I'm like, even after it happened and the delay, I'm like, but this said they will cancel him again, because these boys, the way they are doing. But long story short, the thing, everything happened. I'm like, oh wow, like Arsenal they're really serious this time around. Like it make to some people now it's Declan Rice. I know it's the hate that is talking. For me, I'll be honest. Declan Rice is not that player yet. It's not a 100 million player. Let's just we can. I think we all agree. It's not a 100 million player. However, I think they are getting a player who is just about to hit his peak, which is very, very important. That guy is hardly injured. 244,
24?
24. Yes, 24. And he's only missed one game in his entire West Ham career. And then when you think about availability is actually much more better than ability. It's one reason why most managers will always pick Xhaka. He's always available. Always available. And when you think about last season, one of the reasons why we crumbled was Partey was not really available in important games. Like every time, we're always joking our groups. You don't go find one babe, not be that. Nah, he's always absent. That's how he always says that. So you don't go find one babe. Nah, he's not available now. But in those key moments, you actually need someone that can at least be available for those games. Because if you look at it at the end of the day, when a player is actually very much available, it helps the manager in decision making. It helps in not tinkering the squad too much, right? So for me, I feel like getting Declan and then putting him on a 5-year deal is just basically you're getting a player who's about to hit his peak, and then having him for that long period of time just means that you have a foundation that you can now build on.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, look, I troll and I say what I say, but you're right. He's about to hit his peak and he's reliable and available. So I mean, whether it's 100 million, he has no control over that. He has no, and same way Jack Grealish went for 100 million. Like, so yeah, I hear you on that, bro. I appreciate your call, man. We'll continue the banter.
If you like. Delay me next time again. Next time I come on the show, I'll not put my name so that I'll come and sit. Nice talking with you guys, man.
All right, bro.
Good to see you.
Okay. We're good. I want to get your thoughts on the other transfers like Hojlund and Kyle Walker and the rest of them, but let me take comments first.
Yes.
Zaza goes, Rossoneri hit the nail on the head. All I can add is that people use these football for escapism. So jealous of the money that they expect ballers to be superhuman. That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true. Oh my God, he earns £100,000 a week. If I earn that kind of money, I'll do XYZ. It's not the same. Split goes. There's a clause in the Saudi contract that guarantees £1 million if Henderson brushes his. If Henderson brushes you when he wakes up in the morning, £5 million anytime he passes gas. Listen, this goes in Nigeria growing up. If you walk up to your popsy and talk about trauma, he will tell you, say, another 12 strokes of trauma, Kuboko, they wait you. You just go like, that is true. That is true. That is true. Let me get your thoughts. Let me get your thoughts on. Let's talk about Hojlund. Let's talk about Hojlund first, and then you can go to Onana, Walker, and Fabinho. Bro, I put yourself in the shoes of a Man United fan or Man United. Is it time to withdraw from this Hojlund thing? Do you know what this man are quoting? 80 million for a man that scored 9 goals. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 goals in Serie A.
So I didn't even. I was going to say you will probably be the better expert on that topic because
let me tell you.
I've never heard of it before. So please tell me, educate me. Actually,
okay. So I started hearing about. I'm not going to pretend that I know him. I know that I've known him for a long time. I started hearing about him when this past season started. Is when I kind of saw him first because I follow Serie A because my brother's is a Serie A. My brother's Rossoneri, the person who just that's my brother. He's an AC Milan fan.
Cool.
So I follow the Serie A and I watch AC Milan games, but I don't watch Atalanta every time. But I watch highlights, and I started to take notice of Hojlund. Kind of after the World Cup. That's because they were talking about him then. I don't see 80 million pounds. What I see, let me tell you what I see. And look, you might say this is other Kwame being extra, being what. What I see, honestly, is a Scandinavian Lukaku. Big man team. Man is a Scandinavian. No. His touch is not good. His touch is not good. He does have strength. He has, he has power. He has pace. But I don't. He's still very raw. And look, he doesn't control the price tag, right? Of course, he doesn't control it. But one thing that I learned this past week is that the director of football at Atalanta, the director of football for Atalanta, is the same guy who was the director of football when Manchester United bought Maguire from Leicester City.
Oh, wow.
It is the same guy, yes. It is the same guy who was at Leicester City when we got Maguire for 80 million pounds. That's the same person who's sitting in the Atlanta seat right now. So it makes sense that they're asking for a ridiculous fee. And this is one last thing second to last thing I'm going to say about it. I don't think Hojlund is that guy, especially in light of the expectations of Manchester United fans and the British media, and Manchester United as a club itself. Because we effectively do not have a striker. As Ayo says, Tony Martial is a contractor. The man is a consultant. He's a consultant. He works when he wants. And aside from him, we have no other striker in the team. So if Hojlund comes into this team, he will be number one. He will have to go straight to that starting 11 because Tony Martial is going to be busy in the hospital.
Unfortunately,
having and I think it's time. And we often hear this a lot in football that, he doesn't control the price tag. The price tag is not his fault. Blah, 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 blah. I think it is time for clubs to start considering how well a player will wear the price tag. You see what I'm saying? Because when you're signing a player like Hojlund, this is my approach. This is going to be my approach. If you're going to sign a player like Hojlund, you not only sign him for his ability or whatever, you also have to factor in what is the likelihood that this player will cope with the price tag. Because whether you like it or not, that is something people will talk about.
Yeah.
Whenever we think of Maguire, what do we think of? 80 million. Whenever
Darwin Núñez.
Exactly. We think of what's his face? Paul Pogba, 90 million. Lukaku, 100 million Chelsea. So clubs have to start factoring in the possibility or the probability that this player will wear the price tag well before they purchase him. And I do not see Rasmus Hojlund wearing that price tag well at all. Because
I didn't know that this goal record is not great. So I've seen you guys linked with him. I know Man United need a striker. And for me, you know how I feel about goal scorers. If you're a good goal scorer, man, I always defend you. Because this is one of the reasons, because there are not many great goal scorers around. I think we got spoiled by the Ronaldo and Messi era.
Yeah.
Because these people they come at a premium. They're not. So when people start slagging of people who score 20 goals a season or something, I'm like, man, it's not easy to do this just because our expectations have been so heightened by Ronaldo and Messi scoring 50 every season. Goal scorers are not that many. I mean, prolific goal scorers who are natural goal scorers. They're not that many, and that's why they get paid a lot. And that's why I don't like the criticism of if somebody's scoring maybe 25 goals or 30 goals a season, and then some people start saying, but he doesn't. His first touch is not score. He doesn't contribute to link-up play, or his pressing is not good. But if he's scoring 30 goals, that's his job. For me, that's his job. I will always defend that player because doing that is not easy. If it's easy, then you can find it. United would have found a goal scorer somewhere now. Like if it was so easy, they would have found a goal scorer yesterday. True. But it's not. That's why they're now they're saying 80 million for this guy who scored 9 goals.
9 goals. all of that's like what? Almost 10 million per goal.
Like what?
10 million per goal. But let me bring in Benvindo.
Mr. 419 Club.
What's going on, guys?
How many levers are you pulling today to come get on the show? How many levers did you pull to get on this show, bro?
Zero. But it's a blessing, man. I've been trying to get in, man. Hey, I see a little sad, man. The Thursday nights gonna be rough, man. In the Europa, man. Hey, man.
You could be playing against Kazakhstan.
You could be playing against a lot of passwords, bro. Just be careful. Oh yeah,
bro.
What you guys doing today, man?
Tell us. Well, we're doing good, bro. Good to have you on. Tell us what you think about transfers or the Dele situation, or even the Benjamin Mendy situation.
Oh yeah, the Dele situation is kind of sad to me, man. Like I've been taken aback a little bit. Like it's so sad, right? I think one of our family members showed up today in the news and he or she said that Dele Ali lied because he was never adopted, but she did not deny that he was not sexually abused.
Exactly.
I think that, I mean, really, so maybe he misspoke when he said he was adopted. And adoption, some people like I know people that their parents didn't treat them well, and somebody took them in. They
Yeah.
didn't sign no papers to adopt them. They just took them in and took care of them. It's not that adoption. You know what I mean? But the fact that the sexual harassment, the sexual abuse thing was not denied. I mean, that really, man, like that was kind of sad, man. That was kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. It is sad. It
and
is sad.
and also on the Benjamin Mendy, man. I mean, I wish I could have an opinion, but I really don't know. I mean, we live in a society, nowadays, just because you are acquitted, just because you are found not guilty, doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't do it. So I can't say that he did it, and I cannot say that the ladies are lying either because I don't know all the facts, I don't know all the details. I just wish him well. I mean, I just wish him well, and I wish him and the girls well, and
Yeah.
whoever's lying in this case should be punished, but we don't really know.
Yeah. Yeah. Hear you, bro. Hear you, bro.
I mean, it's kind of like black and white situation, like it's. I mean, you want
It's
to be
never
happy
black
for,
and white. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
These issues are never black and white. Yeah.
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 Like you want to be happy for Mendy that he's out, but at the same time, you're not really sure if the ladies who don't know each other, these ladies don't know each other, they all accuse
Yeah.
him. But
Yeah.
I also don't know if the ladies are telling the truth or not. So I'm kind of, just wish everybody in the situation, wishing them well, wishing them the best. Maybe they can recover and move forward with their lives,
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was gonna say on the transfer side of things. I mean, I watched some Serie A, because there's a lot of Messi friends, World Cup winners that play in Italy. So I watched some Serie A, but I think that guy they talking about, like Hojlund, whatever his name. I mean, I've seen him play. He's not a bad player. He's a very decent player. I think his price should be no more than 50 million.
Exactly. Even with this modern day overly inflated market, it should not be more than 50.
Yeah, I mean, 50 million is a very decent price for an unproven. I mean, I can't say unproven because Atalanta has been playing well in Italy lately. But 50 million for someone who scored less than 10 goals, I think is a reasonable price because I think he has the potential, right? He has the potential. He hasn't really had the magnificent, breakout season like Rashford had last season. So he's still kind of unproven in the biggest stage. So I think 80 million is kind of excessive.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And I will confidently say he's unproven because even watching that Atalanta side, Ademola Lookman was the best contributor, in that Atalanta side last season. You look at Tim Cook Miners was a great contributor. What's his name? Malinowski, another great contributor. Even Duvan Zapata is a good contributor. You look at all those players, and then you start to look at Hojlund. So Benvino, appreciate your call, man. Thank you for calling, man. We'll talk next time, bro.
I like this format, man. Good luck, man.
All right, bro. Appreciate it.
All right,
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, Ola, I want you to talk about the whole Onana situation, Kyle Walker. Share your thoughts about that. I mean, what would you want Onana as a goalkeeper in your team if you didn't have?
Oh yeah,
if you didn't have Alisson, of course.
Oh yeah, he's good with his feet. I think United definitely. You guys needed that kind of goalkeeper. And also, I think he has presence. I think there's unquantifiable thing that goalkeepers need to have. Alisson has it. You guys had it with Schmeichel too. You had it with Van der Sar. Presence. You need a goalkeeper that will fill out the goal. Not that you're covering, but that even the striker will be getting scared that where am I going to put this shot? Like this guy is covering everywhere. So I think Onana has that too. Apart from being good with his feet, I think he has presence in goal.
Okay.
And I just like it that black goalkeepers are getting considered now for top clubs because that for a long time there were, even up to now there's still people derogatory towards black goalkeepers. They always feel black goalkeepers they're good for agility and nothing else. So there's that stereotype, and I'm happy that stereotype is changing. Now we're having black goalkeepers who are coming up and like being considered for top clubs. You guys do need that, and also I think, but what I read was this I'm not going to take it into Glazers territory, but I read an article that said United are a bit limited through financial fair play on how much you can spend. So it seems you guys have to sell maybe a couple of players before you can spend big. So if you guys have a priority to choose, because you need a goalkeeper, you need a striker. Yeah. So it's like maybe, okay, if it now comes down to the fact that you have to choose between the goalkeeper or the striker, which one are you doing, Oga Kwame? If you have to, I mean, if you are limited through FFP and can't do
I'm doing goalkeeper. I'm doing goalkeeper.
Yeah,
I'll do the goalkeeper. Because at the end of the day, the goalkeeper, the reason we need the new goalkeeper is because we have to have somebody who can contribute. Modern day football has evolved to a point where even goalkeepers now are required to contribute to offensive play. Yeah. You're required to contribute to the initiation of an attack or the continuation of an attack when you're being pressed. So I'll take the goalkeeper and suffer one more year of the consultants. yeah. Let me take comments very quickly before we round up. Hojlund's government last name is Potential. Listen, I can already hear the trolls. I can hear the trolls if Hojlund comes and he flops. Look, they will be out. Prince AY, well, now spoil market in the first place. Mudryk went for 100 million, playing less than 45 games. That was mad, though.
Seriously. Yeah, that was mad. There's something shady there.
Onana, while great, is also a double-edged sword in my opinion. You know what, Henry, you're not completely wrong, but I feel like Onana's shot stopping is underrated. I think he's a decent shot stopper. I hear what you say about the double-edged sword because it comes out a lot, but I trust the coach to be able to, control that, that better than Rigobert Song was able to control it in the Cameroonian squad.
Sorry, just the reason why I'm backing you up there is before we bought Alisson was like Onana. Alisson, the clips he would come out of the box and start dribbling. Even when he came to Liverpool, I'm not lying. When he came to Liverpool, his second game or his third game for Liverpool, he came out near the side of the box, wanted to dribble a player, lost the ball, and we considered a goal. It's just that people don't remember. In his third game, we considered a goal because he was trying to dribble a player. So what you said is right, Oga Kwame, that the coaches would drum it out of them. So that kind of thing that they're saying, oh, Onana is coming out and dribbling. Yeah. Don't worry. When Ten Hag give him 10 Koboko.
Exactly. And those deficiencies are what I call coachable things. You can coach through those things. There are some things that you cannot coach. Like De Gea not being able to participate in the attack. It's hard to coach that. Not being able to come out and command the area. It's, it takes some time. You can't coach that at this age with De Gea. Yeah. So that will get coached out of Onana. Let's take this last comment from Spliff. So funny, Onana is 1 inch shorter than De Gea. Didn't know he was that tall. Onana is also he's quite tall. He's quite tall. But anyway, Ola, appreciate you for joining us. I know we spent a little more time than we intended, but it was great having people participate and people call in. I think it was more participatory, this format. But Ola, thank you so much again. We'll see you guys next time. Again, follow us on YouTube. Follow us again on YouTube. We're at Footy Fantasy. On Twitter, we're at Footy AD Fantasy. And on Instagram, we are at Fantasy Footy. And we're live every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, and evening time on the Eastern Hemisphere. Spliff, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for those of you who called in. Thank you so much as well. Thank you, Henry. And we will see you guys next week. Peace, guys.
See you guys. Bye.
All right. Bye.